We go from Suzuka to the Lone Star State at Texas. Welcome along to Breakout Racing League for Tier 4, Round 18 for the U.S. Grand Prix here at Circuit of the Americas. You've got 20 corners that make up this very, very exciting track. Two DRS zones, one into Turn 1, and the other one going into Turn 12. And Sector 1, mainly inspired by the Silverstone, Maggots, and Beckett's. Sector 2 being as simple as a couple corners, and Sector 3 being tight corners. And we'll see how these drivers could do it in the wet this time around. We've got interconditions. We've got the C4, C3, and C2 compound attire for the dry. And we have the intermediates, which we are using, and the full wets. We'll just have to see how the race will pan out. My name is Miniko, and alongside me is Zach the Beast. Zach, we've seen plenty of action at this track, not only in real life, but also in Breakout Racing League itself. Could we see more of that tonight?
What kind of question is that? Definitely, we will see a lot more action here tonight. But if you look back on Tier 3, it was a dry quali and dry race, but for Tier 4, this is going to be a different story. I actually believe this is the first wet session of the weekend, unless realistic had a wet qualifying.
It did not. I can confirm that. This is the first rain-affected race this entire weekend. Formula 2, realistic, and Tier 3 didn't have it, and already people are starting to struggle, as I just saw Shredder have a massive moment at the exit of Turn 9, so that's how you know how the conditions are. But it's going to be interesting how these drivers can all mitigate that. As another thing, they do not have DRS now in qualifying. They usually do, but due to the fact that it is raining, we will not have that tonight. And we'll see how these 16 drivers can do. And crucially, what the top two in the championship will do. James B last week gained a couple of points on his championship rival of Phantom. The gap between them, 58 points, still in Phantom's favor. We'll have to see how that pans out. P3, we've got Bald Guy in the Ferrari. He gained a couple of points on Phantom, but not on James B. Johan Laura in fourth, grabbing yet another podium, his fourth podium in 5 races. Slow and Steady also grabbing a podium last week. He's at P5. Right behind him is Shredder and the Haas. Valkyrie in P7 ahead of Frizy. Redeemer, last week's race winner, his first ever win this season. He is now in P9, rounding off the top 10. Henchman in the Williams. That is your top 10. That could all change, though, especially considering that midfield fight.
Yeah, the championship standings, at least in the midfield, is very, very competitive, which is something to look out for, especially at the end of the season, because we're getting the late stretches. I believe the fatigue of wanting the season over is going to start kicking in soon for these drivers. So it's going to be a matter.
It's definitely going to kick in. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So that will.
I've actually just now gotten a weather report. It is a wet quali, as we obviously see, but a dry race. So that only begs one question: what is the strategy going to be like tonight?
I'm going to have to go with medium soft. Like I said in Tier 3, that's at least my preference.
We'll just have to see. Obviously, people in Tier 3 did manage to pull off the soft to medium, that being BRL Kieran. He managed to grab a podium out of that. Speaking of Haas drivers who was on the podium, Johan Laura grabbing podiums left and right all of a sudden. Now is the first one to set a lap time with a 1:45.9. That is the time that everyone has to beat. Next person to cross the line, I believe, I thought it was going to be Fluky. He's actually starting a lap. So instead, it is going to be the Rebel of KP21. We haven't seen KP21 in a long time. Let's see what he can do now that he's back on the racetrack. He's going to come across the line. What's the time? It's a 46.9, a full second off of Johan Laura. Meanwhile, Shredder puts himself up into P2 with a 46.5. Right now, it's a Haas 1-2, but it's still very much early days.
Only 4 minutes in the qualifying. Also, something to point out is that you didn't kicked out, and that's a McLaren dead. That is Sparta.
That is at the penultimate corner. So something has happened. Possibly a loss of traction. I'm not 100% sure. I'll go on board with Phantom, who's currently on a lap. Oh, that's an interesting incident. Maybe he went off of the left-hand side. You are right, by the way. I didn't get kicked out. Surprise, surprise. Now, Phantom, he is coming through the final corner. Come across the line. What's it going to be? It's provisional pole for the Alfa Romeo, a 1:45.8, beating Johan Lara by just over a tenth.
Yeah, it seems like all these qualifying times are already shaping up, but something that I've said time and time again when it's inner weather, I would recommend putting multiple laps of fuel in your car because inters on their first lap, they're not really good. They're not really up to grip. It takes, excuse me, it takes quite a couple laps for those inters to be heated up really and put down a really, really quick lap time, and that's exactly what Johan Lara is doing.
Yep, Johan Lara now already putting 2 laps on those inter tires. You can do as many laps as you want, of course, as you said. So we'll just have to see how that pans out, and maybe someone will stick on a new set of inters and go for a blistering lap. We'll just have to wait and find out. As of right now, Ball Guy actually just went up to P5 directly behind his teammate now. So Ferrari, 4th and 5th as it stands. We've got 9 people already setting a lap time. These lap times are coming in quick. Shredder's going to be the next one to cross the line. What's the time going to be? I don't think he improved, actually. But he is going to go again, by the looks of it. Next person to cross the line is going to be the McLaren of Valkyrie. Where is he going to put that car? He puts it up to P3. A good lap time from the McLaren, and he's on the 2nd row.
Oh, excuse me, I had my full french fries in my mouth. These are really good. Anyway, next driver to cross the line, yeah, will be unknown in the Aston Martin. Something to take note of. Aston Martin of Carbon dropped out of Tier 4 yesterday, which is really unfortunate to see.
Yeah, obviously he's not entirely had the best of times here in Breakout Racing League, and he's decided to call it a day. And maybe we will see him back next season. I don't know. We'll just have to find out, and maybe he could try and bounce back. But as of now, there will only be one person to fly the Aston Martin flag. It is going to be the unknown. He's currently standing P10. Redeemer has improved up to P3 now in the Alfa Romeo. A good lap time for him on the second row, splitting Johan Lara and Valkyrie as it stands. Meanwhile, actually, I take that back. Now Johan Lara sets the fastest lap of the 1:45.5, beating Phantom by just over 2 tenths.
Yeah, it seems like Redeemer. We're going to talk about the Alfa Romeo driver, Redeemer. He's been getting on a form lately. I believe it was Netherlands, maybe Belgium. No, it was Belgium. That's what he started getting its good form in. And with last week at Japan getting his first win, that'll be a huge momentum shift towards the constructors and drivers for the Alfa Romeo drivers.
Yes, it definitely will be. Shredder crosses the line. He goes up to P2 now, a 1:45.7. It's a Haas 1-2 now as it stands. Let's go over to the team's championship, and it is Alfa Romeo currently leading the standings, 326 points, but only a full 44 points ahead of Haas. So if Haas were to get a 1-2, and both Alfa Romeo, Z, and F, they will be tied in the standings. They can still swing either way. P3, you've got Ferrari with 199 points, just 4 points ahead of AlphaTauri. Then P5, you got Red Bull, who actually overtook Alpine last week thanks to Slow and Steady getting a podium. Alpine sitting 4 points behind. Then it's McLaren in 7th with 130. Williams in 8th. Mercedes 9th. Aston Martin lowly 10th with only 7 points. There can still be a big shift in the midfield fight. There's a yellow flag. I believe that is for Slayer getting out of the way. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Nothing notable.
Yeah, I thought there was maybe a bit of a spin, but that doesn't seem to be the case. 11 drivers have set lap time. There's now a yellow flag at turn 1. Who is that? That is Redeemer. He has gone round at turn 1.
Yeah. Spin count, gone up 1.
I had a feeling you were going to mention it. I had a feeling.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, though. I can say all I want because he doesn't get commentator jinx. He's like the only driver that I know that doesn't.
I don't know. Ball guide across the line. He improves on his lap time, but not on his position. So he will stay in P7. As we are, the next person to cross the line is going to be Days Freak. He's going to start another flying lap. So instead, it's going to be slow and steady. And the Red Bull, the next person to set a lap time. He's been on a roll as of recently. He's been grabbing a few podiums, plenty of points here and there. Where can he put that Honda-powered car as he crosses the line? He goes up to P11, a couple of tenths behind the unknown.
It doesn't even
Meanwhile,
sound like
that
you're
was-
saying a name. It just sounds like you just go, the unknown.
Well, I mean, it is a name, but it's not at the same time. Frizzy went up to P12 in the Mercedes, not entirely the best of lap times. We'll see if he can possibly do anything out of that. Next person to cross the line, I believe it's going to be Phantom. No, it's not actually. He's going to come into the pits, abandoning his lap. So instead, it's going to be, I believe...
Avi,
Well, not...
on an outlap.
Yeah, he's going to start a lap. Redeemer, he has spun on his lap, so I think next person to cross the line is going to be... I thought it was going to be Fluky, but he is actually down on his lap time dramatically. Let's see, Bald Guy, he is down on his lap time as well. But so far, 13 people have set a lap, and we're just waiting for James B and Days Freak to set a lap time as well. And, well, I want to know your prediction, both the chat and from Zach. Who do you think is going to grab pole?
Well, I think it's going to stay how it is. I think Johan Laura's going to take pole position.
That could definitely be, that could definitely happen, as Johan Laura has 2 pole positions to his name. Definitely picking up the pace as of recently, as we said before, grabbing 4 podiums in the last 5 races. He's really been on a charge. And, well, the other people to watch out for in terms of pole positions is Phantom. He's got 4. James B, he has 5. And another person to watch out for, in my opinion, at the Alpine of Slayer. He is good in these conditions. He proved it in Britain. He won the race. He proved it at Hungary in qualifying. He got pole there. Can he do it again as he's going to come around the final corner, keeping it nice and easy? Where does he put that car? He puts it up to pole. A 1:45.5, just beating the Haas of Johan Laura. I told you to watch out for him.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happened.
Johan Laura, I think he's on an outlap now. Same with Shredder and Phantom and all those guys. We have 5 minutes left in qualifying, so we still have 5 minutes. Something notable, it stopped raining.
It has. You're right. Avi's going to come across the line. Where does he put the Williams? He puts himself up into P11, just outside the top 10. The top 10 tire rule, though, will not happen because it's going to be a dry race. So if you want to be in the best position, you have to put that car on pole. And right now, that is currently held by Slayer. Johan Laura, though, on a lap as of right now, already a 10th up in the Haas going through Sector 1. So far, so good, but he just needs to keep it consistent. But the question is later on in this qualifying, will it dry enough to the point where we get to the dries? I think it might not be the case.
Well, there is still, oh, that's actually Avi around. There's still
It is.
spray, but nonetheless, it is still enter condition. But how
Yes, looking over at
long?
Johan Laura, there's definitely a lot of spray, as you said. Henchman saying in the chat that James B will grab pole position. Right now, James B doesn't have a lap time. He's actually still in the pits, down in P15.
Slayer, you good?
We'll see if he can possibly grab pole.
I saw him lose
What's happening to Slayer?
traction.
Oh,
I saw him lose traction at exit a corner and he drifted it, but hit the wall though.
he's no doubt going to come into the pits, and yes, he does. Manages to go on the inside of the bollard instead of hitting it. So we'll just have to see if he can possibly beat that last time. Meanwhile, Johan Laura is about to cross the line. Currently sitting at P2. He's a 10th up on his lap time, going through the Sector 2 split. What's it going to be? It's a 1:45.2 now for the Haas. Directly behind him, though, is Redeemer, who actually improved on his lap time. He now lines up P5 directly behind his teammate. Lap times are starting to come down now, but it doesn't look like it will be dry conditions. So stay the way it is, unless we get a Portimao moment.
Well,
Never forget that realistic.
yeah. I'm trying to look at the track. Still, I don't think it's going to be soft conditions, but it's definitely starting. It's starting to get dry nonetheless.
Seems to be. There's a yellow flag in Sector 1 at Turn 1. There's quite a few cars actually there, as Shredder is going to come around the final corner in the Haas in P3. As of right now, goes a little bit too wide and invalidates his lap and backs off, unsurprisingly. The next person to cross the line is going to be the Alfa Romeo of Phantom. He goes wide in the final corner too, keeps it valid, and then he puts himself P2. So it's a front row for the Alfa Romeo as it stands. But that could all change because Slayer outlap. Johan Lara probably on another flying lap, or is going to go for another one. And, well, anybody can improve, especially James B down to P15. He could definitely jump himself up to the top if he gets this lap all together. Yellow flag, I believe that's for Avi, trying to get out of the way of the other cars. Yes, it is.
1 minute left in qualifying, so if you're going to stick with the softs, you're going to have to do it now.
Might be a bit too late. Redeemer improves on his lap time with a 1:45.5. He is now in the top 4 and on the second row.
Well,
DRS has been enabled. Oh, this might be, hold on a minute. Without tires. There are people on the softs. KB21, Dace Freak, Frizy, James B. They're all on the softs. They could benefit.
KP, it doesn't look soft condition though. There is still spray.
Let's not fault that though, because this game is weird for that.
It is.
KB21 will be able to cross the line to start a lap time.
Johan
Dace
Lara
Freak.
on the mediums?
Interesting. He's probably going to alternate. Oh.
There is no longer
Back
spray, by the way.
That's crucial. So Dace Freak, unsure if he'll be able to cross the line in time. Frizy, he'll be able to cross the line. James B, chasing down Phantom in the championship. He is going to be able to get a lap time. We're going to go over to KP21 here, as he is getting on a lap time on the soft competitive tire. He's marginally up on his time, so it could be close to a crossover, but that can all change in a matter of seconds. So KP21 is going to be the one to watch out for here in qualifying, and really, all the soft runners.
Yeah, going through Sector 2 now, the DRS, though, he's gonna gain like a whole second and a half. So, I think he's gonna be up on a Sector 2 time. Avi's retired in the pit lane, and the track looks dry now to me.
Johan Lara is retired from the retired in the pits as well. So Johan Lara currently sitting on pole position. That might not stay, or that could stay. KB21, purple sector 2, 1.2 up on his lap time with that DRS. I think it's time. I think they have made the right call. Let's look over Dace Freak. He did manage to cross the line in time. Frizy, he has kept it valid. James B, he's kept it valid. So instead he goes up to P7 and the Red Bull. But that is definitely going to change with the looks of it. KB21 coming around the penultimate corner.
Oh.
He goes wide. He goes wide. Would that have been pole if he managed to cross the line as he's going to do now? It would have been. He has cost a chance of that. Yellow flag. Something has happened. I believe that might be Shredder out of fuel, or is he possibly getting out of the way? I do not know. Frizy is down on his lap time, so he won't be able to improve on his lap. We're going to go over to James B, though, in the AlphaTauri. He has 2 more corners to negotiate. He needs to keep it easy and make sure he gets enough traction to put it up on the pole position. Does he do it? Yes, he does! On 1:43.0, that is pole position for the AlphaTauri. But can Dace Freak do anything about that? He's 3 seconds up on his lap time. He could potentially gain a lot in this final sector, but he's got an Alfa Romeo in front of him that could possibly cost him unless he negotiates through the Alfa Romeo quickly. He does, so he's definitely not going to beat his lap time. Redeemer actually went up to P3, by the way, in the Alfa Romeo. He beats his teammate in qualifying. Dace Freak across the line, and it's pole position for the Alpine. Dace Freak on pole for the first time.
Wow, the track dried up
soon
enough. The track dried up enough for Dace Freak to pull off the upset for the pole position.
It was an upset, and that's exactly what he would have wanted. Days Freak on pole position for the first time ever since joining the tier. James B will line up on the front row, but both of them are on the soft competitive tires. How will that play out? Johan Laura will line up in P3. Redeemer beats his teammate, I believe, for the first time in qualifying. Let me go over to check. It is. Redeemer beats Phantom for the first time in qualifying. Slayer lines up P6 ahead of Shredder. Valkyrie down to P8. That is Bald Guy P9. Slow and steady. Rounding off the top 10. Fluky, KB21, The Unknown, Avi, Frizy, and Sprightly outside the top 10.
Something I want to point out is that on my screen, Slayer didn't qualify on any tire. Like, he disqualified.
Oh, I saw that too.
Goated.
I definitely saw that.
He is the real deal, apparently. And yeah, it's dry. but with these guys qualifying on the wet tire, you do not have to select. You don't have to start with a certain tire. You can choose any tire. You can choose hards, medium, soft. Definitely not inters though, or wets.
Yeah, definitely not. It looks like it's going to be all dry as the sun is out, as it usually is here in Austin, Texas. And we're going over to the race director. Johan Lara has already selected the medium compounded tire.
Yep. Johan Lara, I believe that was Frizy that went on medium. So, yep, here we go. Everyone is starting to switch over to mediums now. We have Phantom, we have Valkyrie, we have Avi.
Yeah, everyone now starting to select a medium compounded tire. Surprisingly, strategy is gonna definitely play a part. Days Free saying in the chat, "How did that happen?" Well, you timed it perfectly. Needless to say, you timed it perfectly.
You ran a lap. That's how you did it.
He needed one lap to make it work, and he did.
That would put Slayer on the mediums, KP's on the mediums. Sprightly on the mediums. Jeez.
Johan Laura, why are you asking for a kiss?
Whoa.
He's doing it in the Twitch chat. I can see it.
Whoa.
Yeah, that is
Whoa. Who's he asking first off?
Win the race and I'll consider it.
Win the race, bro. You're going to jail. You're going to prison.
Dominate the race. There. Then I'll consider it. Didn't say I'll do it. I said I'll consider it.
Whoa. First off, we don't know who he's asking.
Johan Laura.
No. Who is he asking to get a kiss from?
Me.
How do you know that?
In the Twitch chat. I'm looking at it on my laptop. He's saying exactly that.
Alright, Johan Laura, are you telling the truth?
I will literally take a picture on my phone and show it to you.
You know,
I kid you not.
I can literally just go back on the Twitch stream after the session's over.
I don't think it shows. Oh yeah, that's
it does.
That's true. Yeah. But anyways, back over to the race. Days Freak on pole. James B lining up on the front row. Both are on the soft competitive tire. Johan Laura, the highest person on the medium. Redeemer and Phantom are both starting on the soft. Slayer, Shredder, Valkyrie have all selected the medium. Ball Guy has selected the softs. Same with Fluky. Same with the Unknown. Slow and Steady, KB21, Avi, Frizy, Sprightly. The rest have selected the medium compound of tire. So it's looking like it's a little bit of a split decision between these 16 drivers here tonight.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drivers are on mediums, 7 are on soft, so you're wrong.
Well, I didn't say it was perfect split, but I said it was split.
What you mean by split is that you mean by 8 and 8, which is 9 and 7, so you're wrong. You get a very
well, I mean, it's still more than expected. It's still more than expected for the softs. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, more than expected.
Yeah, it definitely is more than expected. We'll see how that pans out later on in the race, with obviously the threat of a possible safety car. We had one in Tier 3, so it's definitely not out of the question, as we are now lining up onto the grid. 28 laps of racing, and 28 laps of, well, chaos or action.
Both.
Pick your poison.
Anyway, something to talk about before we go lights out. What does the number 21 look really good on the Alpine?
That is a good question. I don't know. I mean, Esteban Ocon's number looks good on it. So, I mean, yeah, there's a bit of a relation.
Yeah. I guess you have to put like a 4-1, 5-1, and all that, but we're about to go lights out, so.
Yeah. Leave the debates for later, as we are now going to go on to 5 red lights here at Circuit of the Americas. And it's lights out, and away we go. Pretty good start from the Haas, actually. Oh, and there's already contact between the two. That is Phantom. Johan Laura and James B have all made contact at the start. Johan Laura losing a bit of front wing. Phantom losing his entire front wing. Already chaos at the start, but Days Freak leads from Redeemer, then Slayer, Valkyrie, Ball Guy, Fluky, Shredder, The Unknown, Frizy, Slow and Steady, rounding off the top 10. Days Freak getting a pretty good start. The Redeemer, though, slowly clawing on behind, but the two championship leaders down from what was P2 and P5, now down to P14 and 15.
Johan Laura had a better start than the top 2, but right as soon as he hit the battery, the car just went under from him. One would have to assume that's going to be a Stewart inquiry, but very unfortunate start for the championship protagonist. But we have a battle for P4 going on between Valkyrie and Bald Guy. And actually his teammate...
Yeah, Bald Guy down the inside into turn 12. But Valkyrie managing to go around the outside, does the McLaren, and manages to make the move stick, and Valkyrie's back up into P4. Days Freak holding his lead, but Redeemer is slowly clawing onto the back of the Alpine. He has to be careful though, because Slayer, the other Alpine, is closing behind as well. Right now, Redeemer is in an Alpine sandwich as it stands right now, but they have pulled a gap to Valkyrie behind between 1 second. But just the biggest drama out of all that, the championship leaders and rivals are down. They're plumb last, basically. Phantom and James B both having wing
Redeemer
damage.
looking for a move on Days Freak. Days Freak gets enough room on the outside. Redeemer with the late brakes, but Days Freak will get the superior traction. But now we have the Days Freak is around.
Oh, give me a better camera. There he is.
Just one contact between the two. I just had the biggest switch crack of my life right there. There's another one.
Already drama between the leaders, as it would be, as now Days Freak is down and out. Basically, he's not out of the race, however, but he is down to P14. Slayer now leads the Grand Prix. Redeemer stays in P2. Valkyrie P3. Days Freak has retired from the session from pole. Now the first retiree of the session. We're going to get a look as to how that all went down. I think he might have spun by the looks of it. So that has not gone well for the pole sitter. I was honestly rooting for him. It looked good. But meanwhile, throw the back for P5 and P6. Contact between Fluky and Shredder. Shredder having the inside though. But Fluky now having the inside. Dives it into the hairpin. Manages to make it stick. Shredder trying to keep it around the outside, but it's just not enough. It's going to have to slot just ahead of the Aston Martin of the Unknown, who's at the P7. So far, these drivers have kept it clean. But the start of that race, absolute drama as Slayer now leads the second lap. Redeemer has not lost touch of the Alpine.
This is the exact opposite story for Tier 3. For Tier 3, the soft runners jumped out to a huge lead, but Tier 4, we had the mediums. The mediums were up in the front, and one of the medium runners is actually leading this Grand Prix.
Yeah, that could be absolutely crucial in the latter stages. Johan Loris is the fastest lap of the Grand Prix at 138.2, but he's all the way down in P13. Going over to the position gains, Slayer is up 5 positions, Redeemer up 2, Valkyrie, Ball Guy up 5, Fluky up 6, Shredder only up 1, And, well, everyone in the top 11 basically went up a spot. KB21 staying exactly where he is. Johan Laura down 10, Phantom down 9, James Mead down 13, Dave's Freak from first to last. DRS is enabled. Redeemer has it down the main straight. Is he gaining enough on the Alpine? Is he going to possibly go for a move around the outside into turn 12? He thinks about it, but Slayer's just able to cover it off. Meanwhile, Bald Guy has managed to get ahead of Valkyrie for P3, so the Ferrari suddenly has a lot of pace in this race.
I think Bald Guy is just doing damage limitation right now, and it's paying dividends to him. From what I could tell from the start, he was taking everything very cautiously. He was down in P9, I believe it was at start. In lap 1, he was P5, but now he's P3. He's doing a great job with damage limitation, and now he's for the battle for this lead.
I wouldn't say it's damage limitation per se, but it's rather just capitalizing on the drama between the leaders. And right now, he is in the top 3 in the standings. He is currently the one to gain the most points with 15 as he set the fastest lap, make that 16 as it stands, as he is closing ever so much more on Redeemer and Slayer. Meanwhile, Redeemer is all over the back of the Alpine. He has the pace, but he's just not able to get past. Meanwhile, back in the bottom 10, KB21 has gotten past Avi for P11. They're having a bit of a battle further back. The top 3 slowly building a gap on Valkyrie behind. Phantom now sets the fast lap, a 136.5.
Yeah, and Redeemer will actually get DRS with Slayer going through here, so I believe he's going to get around him unless Slayer has the battery. But he does have the battery, but he's dumping it all. But Redeemer's not using the battery at all, and he's at 70, so he's going to look for a move on the outside. We saw this in Tier 3. Do not miss your braking point, because if so, you're going to go off track. And Redeemer doesn't miss his braking point, but very even between the two now going through there. Slayer will look for a switchback, which we also saw in Tier 3. He's going to get that switchback, but Redeemer pitches him wide. And actually, that was a little contact between the two. That caused Redeemer to miss the corner, but Slayer gets a snap of oversteer, and that will keep Redeemer ahead for the time being.
He had the better traction through those corners, and Redeemer now takes the lead of the Grand Prix. He was in the lead last week at the final 2 laps. He's now taking the lead on the 4th lap of this race as he's going to come across the line to lead that lap. There was a yellow flag for the back. Valkyrie has suddenly lost a lot of positions, and he spun again. Something has happened to the McLaren, and now he is making an awful lot of mistakes, now down in P13. Battle for P7, though, as Frizy has gotten past the Unknown. Unknown trying to fight it back, though, into turn 1. It was just not enough, and Frizy will get that position and is now up into the top 7. Going to try and chase after slow and steady.
Yeah, battle for the lead also, by the way, is shaping up once again. But it seems like Rossi and Redeemer got around Slayer. It's when the mediums start to have a superior pace. But now we're just at the crossover point, and Slayer will have the DRS. Same with Bald Guy. I don't think Bald Guy is too far behind to even make a move on Redeemer at least. But here we go with the DRS. Redeemer's breaking the slipstream, but here comes Slayer using the battery. And with the ERS, he will just easily get around Redeemer with no fight.
Easy, simple, done. Slayer is back up into the lead. Meanwhile, battle for P4 going on. Shredder trying to go around the outside of Fluky, but Fluky just managed to cover it off on the inside and will hold that position for now.
And
will
goes
stay
around and they're hitting the rear of Frizy. I just caught that.
Braking possibly a little bit too late, and has unfortunately ruined his race with contact and is now down into P11. And we'll just try and salvage something out of this. And, well, let's see if he can possibly come back from that. Meanwhile, back over to the lead. Redeemer once again has the DRS on Slayer. Is he on the battery? Yet, no, he's not actually, so he's going to slap behind for now unless he dives down the inside into turn 1. Oh! Too late of braking for the Alfa Romeo. That now allows Bald Guy to move up into P2. One mistake from the Alfa Romeo has turned into Ferrari's dream, as he's now going to try and chase after Slayer, but it's already grown to a second. He's out of the DRS now as the Ferrari.
Which is something you do not need, as Sprightly gets a 3-second top penalty for extending the track limits. That'll be the first driver to get a 3-second, but Bald Guy is just now back in the DRS. Will he have the DRS? Yes, he will. He doesn't. This game is a fraud. Here we go. He doesn't have it. He was at 9.6, but okay, game.
Gotta love it when that happens. Redeemer, however, does have the DRS on Bald Guy, but he's not going to be able to make a move. Phantom against a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, trying to chase down Sprightly. And, well, he's just going to try and salvage something out of this. He is ahead of his championship rival, to just clarify that, so he will still gain, well, not anything, actually. As Frizy makes a move on Unknown for P7 once again, and he gets that move done. And it seems like the soft runners are slowly... No, actually, I take that back. I said the soft runners are slowly starting to die off. Bald Guy has suddenly closed the gap to him and Slayer.
Now he's actually dropped Redeemer somewhat, but Redeemer, with a beautiful sector 3, was able to keep it within that DRS. But nonetheless, it's just... It looks like a cycle to me. Top two just swaps a little bit. One of them makes a mistake and allows the P3 guy to take over. And it's just a cycle.
Yeah, it definitely is a cycle, but so far there hasn't been any major incidents between those three drivers. Fluky defending a little bit from Shredder. I think the soft compounded tire for the Ferrari. Oh, it definitely is going off as he goes off the track. And that allows Shredder to easily move past it up into P4. That might be an indication that the softs are slowly starting to die off in this race. As Bald Guy, Redeemer, and Fluky, and the Unknown, all in the top 10. The only guys on the soft compounded tire as it stands.
Yeah, but Bald Guy's still in that DRS. Redeemer doesn't have a DRS, which is not good for his case, at least so far in this Grand Prix. But anything could happen with safety cars and all that, so we're just gonna have to wait and see and what unfolds later on in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait and see. I think Redeemer's just gonna try and, well, just maybe claw back or just take it easy now, as he's got a clear gap over Shredder. He's gonna have to be aware of those softs dying off. One person whose softs definitely aren't dying off is the Ferrari, as Slayer gets a bit of a snap there off the exit of turn 15, I believe. Yeah, turn 15. And that is not going to help him, as Bald Guy is slowly starting to close on the Alpine. He is going to have DRS once again. Unless he gets a great exit, I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move as of yet. Actually, he got a really good exit.
If he used the battery there, I think he would have dived it down, but...
Fluky's in.
Yep, first soft runner to come in. At least it wasn't for wing damage. Or lap 1 incident.
Yeah, not this time around. And as you said, not front wing damage. He goes onto the medium compounded tire, does the Ferrari, and he's going to try and perform the undercut on the cars ahead. He will slot in P11, I believe. Yes, it will be. So he's just going to now have to run laps.
Shredder with a 3-second time penalty, which will play crucial at the end of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, it will. Obviously, it will not be affected as slow and steady is 4.3 behind him. But Fluky was closer to the Haas. Meanwhile, someone who is getting closer to another car is Bald Guy. He's got the DRS on Slayer once again. He's using that battery. He is gaining a lot on the Alpine. He's going to try and go for a move around the outside into turn 12. Slayer with the inside shoves the Ferrari a little bit wide, but not too wide. Bald Guy now has the inside, little bit of contact between the two. Is Slayer going to get the better traction? Yes, he does. And he's going to be able to hold his position unless Bald Guy can get a great exit and get a good switchback. It's just not enough. Slayer getting a bit of a snap, though. That's going to encourage Bald Guy. But Slayer will just stay ahead and stay in the lead.
Something notable is that Johan Lohr is already back up in the P9. What a great recovery drive is. He's actually down on fuel. Same with KP21. And that is it for fuel. Nonetheless, something interesting to look out for.
That is actually very interesting to note for Johan Lohr. He obviously had that moment between him and James B.
He actually hits the wall very hard with his rear wing, so that may be rear wing damage from the Aston Martin driver.
He goes into the pits unsurprisingly after having that spin. He's just gonna, nearly spun out in the pits. But he now is in and is gonna go for a set of medium compound of tire. It is interesting that you mentioned Johan Lohr, by the way. Obviously, he had that contact. Maybe he didn't get damage from that lap 1 incident because he didn't pit. He's still on 8-lap-old mediums. He didn't have to pit. So I think he managed to just escape. And that has been crucial for his race, as he is now on a charge.
Speaking of something crucial, Redeemer is back in the DRS of Bald Guy.
Just about. It's definitely very close, but Bald Guy is closing onto the back of Slayer. These three have not separated. Obviously, Slayer on the medium compounded tire, Bald Guy and Redeemer both being on the soft. As of right now, we would suspect that the soft runners will pit later on in this race, possibly in the next coming laps. We'll just have to find out. Bald Guy, though, he is close to the back of that Alpine. And so far, it doesn't look like the softs are really dying. Let's look over at the tires. They don't honestly look too bad. Well, the front left doesn't exactly look great, but the front right looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's the problem I had when I did a couple laps here in F2. The front left was just killing my car. But I didn't think it would be the same because F2 cars are different than F1, but obviously not. Those front lefts do not look like they're having a great time.
When he lost a lot of time at turn 1, and now he's out of the DRS Slayer. Let's see if he can claw it back in Sector 1 and the beginning of Sector 2, but that's going to invite Redeemer a little bit as he's now starting to close on Bald Guy once again and is within DRS of the Ferrari. This may be indication that the softs are slowly starting to die off. Battle for P9 going on as Fluky gets ahead of Avi and is now up into the top 9, so he's trying to make the undercut work, and so far it is going his way. Redeemer doesn't have DRS on Bald Guy. Bald Guy doesn't have DRS on Slayer, so none of the top 3 have DRS on anybody.
I think that would be a clear indication to come in this time for mediums.
Quite possibly. We'll just have to see how that pans out. They're the only 2 drivers on the soft compounded tire still as of right now. And well, lap 10, that could definitely change. So far, everyone just kind of evenly spread out as it stands. Redeemer slowly clawing back into that 1 second gap of Bald Guy once again. It seems like the third sector is a bit of a strong suit for the Alfa Romeo. And, well, what does he do? What does Bald Guy do? Does Redeemer go into the pits? No. So they stay out for another lap.
Redeemer has DRS on Bald Guy, so maybe it's this Bald Guy that pushed his tires a little bit too much to stay within Slayer, and now he's starting to pay the price for it.
Just looking at the ERS levels between Bald Guy and Redeemer. Redeemer all over the back of the Ferrari. Bald Guy is sitting within the mid-40s. Redeemer is sitting high and nicely in the 80s, so it's a huge advantage for Alfa Romeo in terms of battery level. And, well, that could possibly change if Redeemer does try and make a move. But I would suspect that he's just going to take it easy as he knows he has the podium as of right now.
Well, anything could happen.
Indeed, anything can happen. Lap 11, no safety car. Oh!
As soon as you said that, Redeemer gets a snap of oversteer on the exit, but was able to save the car. He probably needs a new pair of pants after that one.
most likely, and yet he manages to save the car just, and with that DRS, he was able to claw back what he lost in that sector, and still within DRS of Bald Guy. Sprightly with another 3-second time penalty. He is now currently at 6 seconds. Let's look over at time penalties. So far, only 4 drivers have a penalty, that being Shredder, KB21, Phantom, and Sprightly. The rest are penalty-free, but it's only lap 11. That can all change. Coming on to the end of lap 11 now. What did Bald Guy and Redeemer do? Bald Guy stays out. Redeemer is in.
Here we go. This should begin the chain of
the undercut has been made.
But the question is, where does Fluky end up during all this?
I was just about to ask that. Fluky obviously performing that undercut, 2-lap-old mediums. He has been clawing a bit of pace on the tire. And, well, it looks like Redeemer is slowly going to come out to the pits. I think Redeemer will come out ahead of the Ferrari. Yes, he will. Where will he come out? Between KB21 and Frizy. So he's in P6. He's now going to try and build
not yet. I wouldn't say
try
that.
the undercut. Oh, yeah. Wheel to wheel between the two.
Oh, that was
Redeemer
close.
stays.
For KP21, it looked like he started to have a oversteer moment, but he saved it because if he did have oversteer, I believe that would have been him and Redeemer's race over.
Yeah, but luckily they just managed to keep it out of each other, and now that is Redeemer's chance to just build a bit of pace try and make those mediums work to the point where he can perform the undercut as he's within 1 second just of Bald Guy. And, well, that can all change. The undercut is proving to be powerful as well. Not Johan Lara, sorry. Fluky has been making moves and clawing a bit of pace. So Redeemer has everything to gain. Bald Guy has everything to lose, and he's still losing pace to Slayer ever so much more. That gap is now 2.5. Gains a little bit there. Does it go to the pits? Yes, he does. All eyes now on Redeemer.
Looks like he'll be ahead, but it's going to be very close nonetheless.
It definitely will be close. Obviously, Redeemer having a bit of a traffic of Frizy ahead of him, but I would assume he would easily dispatch of the Mercedes. Frizy going a little bit deep.
For Bald Guy?
Oh.
That may have been
that is very interesting.
That may have been a game mistake.
Redeemer sails past Frizy. There's Bald Guy, and Bald Guy actually manages to stay ahead. The undercut has not worked for the Alfa Romeo, but Bald Guy, he has to pit again.
That is just unfortunate.
That is definitely unfortunate. The wrong call has been made. Meanwhile, Johan Lara, I think Johan Lara just made a move with the S section, and he's now up into P7. He is definitely on a charge. He obviously still has to pit, but he is making moves left and right in this race. Avi with a 3-second time penalty. He is currently down in P11. That's certainly not going to help his race. The Unknown now gets a time penalty. He is down in P13. But the gap I'm watching out for is between Bald Guy and Slayer. Or really, between Redeemer and Slayer, as Bald Guy will have to pit again. Redeemer doesn't. He can make it to the end.
I don't think Bald Guy would be that type of guy to be like, let's just go on the softs, even though I started on the softs. I think that's just a game issue.
Could be. We'll just have to find out later on after this race. Johan Lara very much on the back of Frizy as of right now. He is definitely making amends for what happened on lap 1 from P3 all the way down to practically last. But he's all over the back of the Mercedes. He's definitely going to have DRS on the Mercedes using the ERS button. He doesn't have much ERS, but he has enough to get alongside the Mercedes. Is the Mercedes going to fight it? It looks like he's just going to let him by.
Oh, you sure?
And the Haas is now up into P6. Oh, never mind. As Johan Lara made a bit of a mistake, and that's now Frizy and Johan Lara going wheel to wheel through the S section. Johan Lara just lets Frizy by.
That's for Fluky.
Yes, it is. Johan Lara gets a 3-second time penalty as well. What has happened to the Ferrari? He's lost his front wing. That is not what he wanted in this race as well. He's going to have to come back into the pits, and he actually straight lines the... Actually, no, I think he's just getting out of the way. Never mind. I take it back. I thought he was just cutting the corners, but no. He was just keeping out of everyone's way, but that has hurt his race, and he will undoubtedly go down to last in this race. Johan Lara gets past Frizy once again and is now up into P6. But he obviously does have to pit, but it's been a great recovery drive from the Haas so far.
Yep, as Bald Guy is all over the rear gearbox, slow and steady.
He is. Obviously, being on the soft compounded tire, he's definitely having a lot of pace in this race. Gap between him and Slayer, 18 seconds.
Slow and steady's in.
Slow and steady in the pits. Interesting. We're just reaching the halfway point of this Grand Prix. Slow and steady deciding to get off of the mediums. Bald Guy sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix with a 1:35.9. And, well, he is the fastest driver on track trying to chase after Slayer. But he has to pit again. So, really, all this is nullified. So, he just has to make amends for this. But really, Redeemer hasn't really caught up much to Slayer, noticeably. Redeemer obviously being on much fresher mediums, but Slayer having a lot of pace on those 14-lap-old mediums.
Yeah, definitely. Bald Guy's already gained a half a second on Shredder.
He definitely has, so Shredder possibly struggling a little bit. Obviously, being in P2, he does have to pit, but Bald Guy, he is... Well, I would say he's on a charge, but I wouldn't 100% say that. As KB21 further back in P7, he has yet to pit. He is all over the back of Frizy for P6. He's going to have the DRS. He will use the ERS button. He is all over the back of the Mercedes, and he's most likely going to sail past him down the straight, and indeed he does, and he is up into P6 now.
Oh, I saw that. Sprightly's around.
Oh. What has happened to the McLaren? Round at turn 6, I would assume. Let me check my map real quick. Yep, turn 6. And he's round again.
Oh, that is just unfortunate.
It has gone from bad to worse for the McLaren. And, well, luckily he's kept it out of the wall, but it has not been his day. Bald Guy sets another fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and he is just absolutely gunning it in this race. Meanwhile, Slow and Steady has gotten past Avi for P9. Slow and Steady, obviously, he has pitted in this race, so he could go to the end. We'll just have to see where he will finish up in this race, unless there is a late race safety car, which I'm surprised that there wasn't one for the lap 1 incident. Obviously, there wasn't anyone retired at the time, but yeah.
Yeah, with a lot of wing damage, but that's probably going to go to stewards, which will be something that we'll probably have to be there for, so. I was on board.
Oh boy.
Like I said at the start, I was on board with the Hot Driver in Laura. He had a really good run, but so if that doesn't sit as a steward inquiry, the rule book of BRL says that you are in control of your own car, so you have to wait and see what the decision will be made on that one.
We'll definitely have to wait and see. Obviously, it was at the start of the race, so it could be regarded as a first lap incident. We'll have to find out. KB21 under pressure now from Frizy, and look who's caught up to the back of these two. Phantom. Phantom is making amends after that contact on lap 1. And right now in P9, Frizy going for the move at turn 12. Ooh. Super close. Frizy nearly making contact with KB21, but managing to keep it out of the rear gearbox of the Red Bull, and he will stay behind in P7, but he's now under pressure from the championship leader of Phantom.
The thing I want to know is that Bald Guy is already getting ready to pass Shredder, and he does.
Easily, simple, done into turn 1, and that is now Bald Guy up into the lead of this Grand Prix, but he will have to pit again.
Lead?
Oh, sorry, P2. As KB21 and Frizy are into the pits. So they have pitted together and will most likely go on the soft competitive tire. That is soft for the mediums. I mean, soft for the medium. What? No. Soft for the Mercedes and soft for the Red Bull, unsurprisingly, as that is no doubt a one stop. Looking at the gap between Redeemer and Slayer, Redeemer has not caught that much to Slayer. 20 seconds between the two. It has not gone Redeemer's way, and Slayer looking very comfortable now.
I would not be surprised if Bald Guy stretches it to like lap 20, 21 or so, and he pits in for mediums. Or maybe he could do it when the medium runners start to come in, but that's when they would be on even tire. And Bald Guy, in my opinion, should use the max pace of these softs, and they should start dying around lap 19 and 20. So I think that would be around the window where I would pit.
Well, if he were to pit, obviously Johan Lara, Shredder, and Phantom most likely will have to pit again.
No!
Speaking of Phantom, I think he's... Oh no, that's Redeemer!
Spin count.
Well, it looks like he doesn't get any front wing damage from that, but that has cost him a huge amount of time. That's cost him 8 seconds now, does the Alfa Romeo. Shredder, Johan Lara, obviously they still have to pit, so he is still P3, but that could be, or even P2 actually, but that is going to end his possible charge for the lead. And, well, Slayer looking even more comfortable now.
This could be redemption from Slayer, because if you remember last week, he made it 3 wide and all 3 drivers crashed out, but Slayer was the only one that DNF'd. So this could be a redemption day.
Quite possibly. Obviously, he still has to pit in this race, but it will definitely be very comfortable for the Alpine. Avi is into the pits. He is going to get off the medium competitive tire, unsurprisingly, because they do not look pretty. He's going to go onto a new set of soft competitive tire. Yes, he does. So that is to the end, and he's just going to see if he can possibly steal fastest lap, or just get a good position out of this race.
Get bragging rights. until when the Slayer and all these guys would come in.
Yeah, exactly. KP21 grabs a 3-second time penalty. That is not gonna help his race. As he's in a battle with Frizy, and he has 3 seconds more than the Mercedes. And well,
Slayer's in.
Well, he will still finish in the points. He is. You're right. The Slayer now getting off the medium compound, and will undoubtedly go onto the soft compounded tire. Yes, he does. That is to the end. And that now gives Ball Guy the lead of this Grand Prix.
Shredder's
but
in.
But he will have to pit again. Yep, Shredder is in as well.
Loss.
Oh.
That means Redeemer and Phantom say, never mind. Phantom comes in. Oh, that may be a... Oh. That is going to be questionable. See if anyone caught that. I'm not sure if you caught that on stream, but I believe Phantom...
Not exactly, no.
Yeah. I would consider Phantom lucky because he was 100% out of the white line. Because if someone caught that, that would be a time penalty for him. So he's pretty lucky.
Yeah, we'll just have to have a look later on in this race. But now Slayer has pitted. He's only 8 seconds off of Ball Guy, and he is just gonna run his race at this point. As he's got a comfortable gap to Redeemer. Actually, wait a minute. Ball Guy could still get P2.
Yeah.
Ball Guy is 20 seconds ahead of Redeemer as it stands. The pit window is around 18 to 19 seconds. So as long as he doesn't make a mistake, he goes to the pits, he will come out ahead of the Alfa Romeo. So Ball Guy has made amends for this. Wow.
Yeah, 100%. That's just really great. With the help of luck.
Fair play, Ball Guy. Fair play.
Fair play, yeah.
We doubted you, but you did it.
he needs to pit this time, though, because he does not need Slayer the game as much as he is right now, and he does not come in the pit. But here's the thing: Ball Guy pits, he can't go on to the
new set of softs.
Softs, yeah, he has to go on mediums, unless.
So you know how I said that someone was on a recovery drive? Phantom, he has made a move up into P8. Yeah, he may have gotten a 3-second time penalty, but he has gotten dispatched. Frizy is going to try and chase after KP21. He's back up into the points after being last by a long mile. And, well, still ahead of his championship rival.
Speaking of a comeback drive, look at Johan Laura.
He's possibly looking for a move on P5.
Yes,
P5. Down the inside goes the Haas into turn 1. And that's going to be an easy move for the Haas. And it is. And he moves himself up into the top 5. Is going to try and pull a gap since he has a 3-second time penalty. But with new set of softs, I would not be surprised if he does.
Well, also Shredder has
well done, Johan Laura. Yep, so James B has decided to finally pit in this race. Well, pit again onto a new set of soft compounded tire. Meanwhile, someone who has already pitted before has been Phantom as he makes a move on KP21 down the inside at turn 11. And it's an easy move for the Alfa Romeo. However, KP21 is going to be able to fight it back because he has the DRS. He's in the slipstream. He pulls to the left-hand side. Give me a better camera angle. There we go. And he has sailed past the Alfa Romeo and into P7. Ball Guy has now finally gone into the pits and will undoubtedly go into the medium compound of tire. Slayer sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He retakes the lead of this race. And there it is. New set of mediums for Ball Guy. And he will come out easily ahead of Redeemer.
Yeah.
Actually, wait a minute.
No.
Look who's in P4 and chasing after Redeemer.
Shredder.
Shredder has suddenly managed to catch up to the Alfa Romeo very, very quickly. But Shredder, he is in that midfield fight between himself, Johan Laura, slow and steady, Valkyrie, all those drivers. He can get P3 if he manages to pull a gap over Redeemer of
P7,
3
by the way.
seconds.
And the Phantom would get
P7.
ahead.
Yep. Battle for P10. Actually, no, not a battle for P10. As unknown as it's the pits on a new set of mediums. I think he might have had to pit again. that
But
he
we
is
do
now
have a
down into
battle shaping up
P12.
for P3 because Shredder has DRS and he's all over the rear gearbox of that for me, Redeemer. Look at the time penalties. They're even. So this will be just an all-out on-track pace advantage. Unless, no, wait, never mind. I was looking at Yon, Laura, and Shredder. But Redeemer has a
I was about to
3-second.
say.
Redeemer does not have a 3. Oh, that's a pit lane. Never mind.
Fluky has decided to call it a day and is now retired as the second DNF in this race in the pits. But Shredder has now dispatched of Redeemer, is now going to try and build a gap. Obviously, being on the soft compounded tire, he has that advantage, and he's going to try and grab his second podium of the season. That's honestly surprising, by the way. He's been consistent. He's been up there. But as of right now, this will only be his second podium. His first podium was in Russia. Actually, hang on a minute. How uncanny is that? He's in a Haas car. Haas, being an American brand, he might get on the podium here if he builds the gap. And the car has a Russian flag, basically. And he got a podium at Russia.
Well.
How uncanny is that?
But that's saying if he does get a podium. But the gap's only at 1.8, so anything could happen. So he's going to have to need Johan Laura to definitely... He needs Johan Laura to catch up the Redeemer. And needs him to battle, really. But in my opinion, by then, he'll probably have that 3-second gap because he's definitely growing it.
Yeah, he definitely is. Obviously, on the straight, that won't mean anything, but in the corners, he is definitely pulling a gap and is on his way to another podium if he can get it right. Unknown gets a 3-second time penalty once again, and now that adds up to 9 seconds for his race. He's the highest man with penalties, with having 3 seconds more than the next driver. One thing I want to note, though, so Johan Laura, he's at a comeback drive. He's up at the P5. Phantom, he's in the top 6, and he's done 2 stops. Yeah.
But if you look at race director and Loris, Phantom's on soft, medium soft. So yeah, that's actually a 2-stop. A lot of guys who's at a 2-stop but still P2, more impressive in my opinion.
Obviously, he wasn't caught up in that first lap incident.
Yeah. Still, had a game mistakes. And a game mistake.
Yeah, but luckily he has made amends. That is now up onto the podium once again, and he can just take it easy. But he also has to be aware because Shredder is gaining and is pulling a gap to Redeemer behind 2.5. So he's got around 5/10 to find to keep that, and obviously to stay within the track limits if he wants to grab this podium. And Redeemer just needs to give it everything, absolutely everything. Granted, he doesn't make a mistake, obviously.
Yeah, and he also has another Haas behind him chasing him down, but behind the Haas is his teammate.
It's Haas Alfa Romeo, Haas Alfa Romeo.
Have you seen that
like
meme
back
where
in
it's
2020 when it was those two, but obviously this is an equal car.
It's like that meme where the guy has a gun pointed to the other guy's head, and then behind him is another person to his head. Then behind that person...
it's like, yeah, exactly. Like, Shredder, Shredder would just be sitting there. Then Redeemer would be the one pointing the gun behind him due to the fact that Shredder has a 3-second. Johan Laura being behind Redeemer. Phantom has a freaking sniper in his hands, and he's pointing it right at Johan Laura's head.
Yeah, so...
in more than one way, because of that first lap incident.
This race has been more uncanny than any other race.
Yeah, it definitely has. But one thing that hasn't been uncanny is Slayer's pace, as he has got a 16-second gap to ball guy behind. He has just got to run his race, take it easy. He's pretty much got this on lap 24 of 28. 5 laps left of racing. Surprisingly, out of all this, no safety car. And
there's going to be a safety car now, since you said that.
If I was Redeemer in this situation, I'd be a little scared.
Avi
gets a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. What has happened to the Williams?
It looks like he just spun off. I think he should get that 10-second removed. Oh,
We'll have to find out later on.
Had a snap of
Oh.
oversteer that allows Johan Lora to get the DRS on him, and now it's just a drag race. Johan Lora ain't even gaining that much on Redeemer, which is something he does not need due to his lack of battery. Nonetheless, he's going to be ahead of Redeemer, and now he's just going to be on a charge to get that 3-second gap.
One person that definitely has that 3-second gap, and now a buffer, is Shredder. 3.6 between him and his teammate. And this will actually help them in the Constructors' Championship. Remember what I said earlier, that if Haas got a great day and Alfa Romeo got a terrible day, they would gain a lot in the standings. I mean, obviously, they are both close between each other, but both Haas's are ahead of both Alfa Romeo, so they will gain in the Constructors' Championship as it stands. Obviously, thanks to Shredder being on the podium and Johan Lora building a gap to Redeemer. But the question is what happens between the two Alfa Romeos there? Are they going to let Phantom pass Redeemer so then he can try and chase after Johan Lora? Obviously, Phantom with that 3-second time penalty, or 6 seconds actually, my bad. He's just trying to give it everything as of right now. I think he has the fastest lap if I'm not mistaken.
Oh
yes,
yeah, that's another 2 second towards Phantom. So I don't think...
Salt onto the wound.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion at least, they shouldn't swap because Redeemer doesn't have a penalty, but the gap is 2.1. I don't think Redeemer's even going to get Johan Lora.
I think 5th might be the best he will gun for. But yeah, I think Alfa Romeo might be going for a bit of a swap here if the Alfa Romeo Phantom can get close to the back of Redeemer, which is, as of right now, he is definitely doing so. As well, they need to disrupt Haas. Haas is gaining in the Constructors as of right now. And they'll go down, well, I believe, 15, 12 points. That is a total of 27. Alfa Romeo getting 10 and 8, that's 18. That's 9 points.
Valkyrie sends it on slow and steady. He will have the DRS, and slow and steady just misjudged the corner a little bit, it looks like. And now Valkyrie has the battery. He can just dump it all. But slow and steady is dumping indeed as well. So the gap's going to stay around 2 tails. Let's see if slow and steady sends it. No, it does not. But Slayer 3-second, that won't matter though.
It definitely won't matter. He's got 19 seconds. He's got a full pit stop ahead of Ball Guy. Okay.
Yeah, he just needs
he's obviously not going to pit, but he's got that gap. That is absolutely insane, the pace that he's had in this race. As well,
100%.
lap 26 at 28. He just needs to take it easy. That's all he needs to do. He does not really need to do much in this.
Also, something still to point out, Johan Lora's still low on fuel, but compared to Frizy, he still has fuel. Redeemer 3-second. Nah.
About him possibly getting within that gap, that has now been negated as everyone in the top 10, except for Bald Guy, Valkyrie, and Slow and Steady all have a time penalty. Speaking of Slow and Steady, he is on the back of Valkyrie, but is not able to do anything. And Phantom is all over the back of his teammate, and that is the swap right there. Obviously, Redeemer might get the place if he's within, but the Alfa Romeos have now swapped, and that is actually crucial for Phantom's championship, as he's now gaining 10 points, whereas James B, he's outside of the points. It has not been a great day for AlphaTauri.
James B has just been on a... This is not the time where need to have down races, because ever since, like, Belgium, since he missed Belgium, he's just not had the greatest of races. Speaking of greatest of races, the Haas drivers are having a really good race, but they're going to start battling here soon because Johan Lora has DRS with Shredder.
We'll see if there's possibly a side of team orders, or if they're just going to battle it out. We'll just have to wait and see. We're on lap 27 of 28. As of right now, if everything stops the way they are, in which it should probably stay the way that they are for Phantom, he will gain 10 points on James B and will increase his gap. Actually, no, he'll gain 11 points because he has the fastest lap. He will now have 69 points ahead of James B in the standings. Nice.
Yeah. Funny, 69, funny. Har.
Meanwhile, back over to P3 and P4. Johan Lora is all over the back of his teammate as of right now. Johan Lora has been on an absolute rampage in this race. Actually, wait a minute. They are close to the back of Ball Guy.
But the question is, what matters? Actually, they're gonna go wheel to wheel going through here. It looks like Sprightly for another 3 second. I will not lie, I thought that was one of the hot drivers, but nonetheless, Jan Loris gets ahead of Shredder, and now can he is down on Bald Guy, but nonetheless, I do not think he'll get a 3 second gap over him in just over one lap. Especially if he doesn't get DRS here.
Hang on a minute. There's another factor going on here.
His fuel.
Johan Laur's blinking. Yeah. Oh, Ball Guy. What happened to Ball Guy?
What?
What happened to the Ferrari? Does he have front wing damage? Doesn't look like it, but something has happened. He might have made a mistake at that corner, and that has cost him P2, but with obviously them having a 3 second, that is going to help them. But that has lost them 2 positions in the space of 1 corner. But on the final lap of this Grand Prix, Johan Laura is on danger of fuel. Both Haas's are in danger of fuel.
Same with Bald Guy.
Bald Guy's blinking. Phantom, he hasn't made the fuel mistake. Redeemer hasn't made the fuel mistake. Yellow flag. Sprightly has kept it easy.
Slayer's blinking.
Sprightly. What is going on? People misjudging their fuel. What is happening on the final lap of this Grand Prix? But going over to Slayer. It was drama and a horrendous time for him at Japan. 3 wide moment, a hugely debated moment. But he managed to come away with a DNF, and that was not what he wanted. But in this Grand Prix, he's run out of fuel, actually. But that's not going to matter. That is not going to matter.
Out of fuel. You know, everyone.
A bunch of people are out of fuel, yeah.
Everyone
but
is going.
Slayer. Yeah, Slayer has made it night and day. He has been the class of the field, and he's going to come across the line. Maybe. He's going to come across the line. It's redemption for Slayer as he wins the U.S. Grand Prix. Shredder, low on fuel. He might make it to the flag. He's just run out of fuel now. The Haas has just run out of fuel. He's going to come across the line to finish a P2, but Bald Guy will take that position. Shredder will finish on the podium. Phantom is down to P5 because Redeemer only had a 3 second. Phantom P5. Johan Laura P6. Fuel issues have cost them the win. I mean, what? No, sorry. They have cost them a lot of championship points. They were gaining 8 points, and I don't think they're going to gain anything now. But wow.
22, 15. They'll gain on Alfa Romeo, but this won't be a big chunk. But all these Haas drivers, both Haas drivers, just go, oh man, I wish I was saving the whole time, because that would be a huge chunk of points for them. But
it definitely would have been. James B at the last dash managed to grab P10, so he will grab a point, but he still loses 10 points to Phantom. Gap is now 68. Driver of the day goes to Bald Guy. I would have to agree with that. Despite the game mistake, he still managed to make amends and take the podium. But nothing was going to stop Slayer here tonight as he wins the U.S. Grand Prix. It's an all-U.S. podium here in Tier 4. And wow, drama at the start. Strategies played a part.
yeah.
You like that rhyme, by the way?
Yeah.
That was completely unintentional, but I did it. I'm proud of myself for that.
Yeah.
There you have it then. Slayer wins the U.S. Grand Prix in dominant fashion here tonight. Bald Guy will grab P2, and from a bad strategy, managed to make amends. Shredder grabs his second podium of the season. That'll help him in the midfield fight that's currently going on. Redeemer will finish in P4. It's an All-American top 4. Phantom will finish in P5, gaining crucial points on his championship rival, Johan Laura, from an incident in the first lap. Back up to P6, a great drive from both him and Phantom. Frizy will get more points for Mercedes. He finishes in P7, so instead P8 ahead of Valkyrie. James B won singular point. We KP21, the unknown, Avi, and Sprightly, all outside the top 10. We have lost Fluky and Days Freak from this race. And wow, what a race it was.
Yeah.
We now wait for, I believe, Slayer for us to join us here in the commentary booth for interviews. I'm actually gonna ping him. All right, there we go. He is in, and with that, we can start with podium interviews. And Zach, take it away. Shredder, P3.
Shredder P3, the hottest driver, especially with the constructor battle with Alfa Romeo. It would have been a P3, P4, but with the other running out of fuel, it's instead P4 and P5 Alfa Romeo, and P3 and P6. No, P5, excuse me. So give me your thoughts in the race, especially on the drama when everyone ran out of fuel there.
Yeah, I mean, myself, I was saving on fuel since about lap 7, and I was just trying to get to the end even. And I think those last 2 laps or so, I started racing with my teammate a little bit. And Bald Guy made that mistake there, and I was up about 2.5 seconds. And if I would have just saved a little bit more, I would have been able to power through the line, and I might have got my 3-second gap to take second place. But overall, it's all good. Second podium of the season, all-American podium here at the USGP as well. So it was definitely a good race watching the carnage unfold there in front of me on lap 1, and saw a lot of guys spin. So took advantage of that, kept the car on the road, and we got a good finish.
Yeah, do you have any
Definitely was
questions?
a good finish. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Zach.
No, I just asked any questions. You're good.
Oh, okay. It definitely was a good finish. Obviously, with that finish, you increase, well, not increase, but you gain more points in that crucial midfield fight, especially since Slow and Steady, Valkyrie, were way down the order. And, well, the one question I really have is, what is your goal for nearing the end of the season? Do you think Haas are going to be able to grab the constructors, or are you hoping for maybe getting into the top 4 and being best of the rest?
Oh, man, I would love to finish 4th place, best of the rest. I mean, the top 3 guys are ahead by a mile, so, you know, it's not really a good goal to jump all the way up there. But, yeah, definitely best of the rest is a great goal for me. And then I really think if me and Johan Laura can string together some good finishes here, we might be able to catch Alpha. You know, it's kind of our goal. If he can beat Phantom and I can beat Redeemer, you know, we're getting some points on him potentially. So that's kind of been our game plan here the last couple of weeks, and we're trying to claw back. Missed a bit of an opportunity today, but we're gonna keep trying.
That exactly you will do. Zach, do you have any further questions?
No, I do not.
All right, then I just have one last question. Next week, Mexican Grand Prix. It's your teammates' home Grand Prix. How do you think you guys will do there?
Oh, you know, Mexico's a decent track for me, and I'm not sure about Johan, but I mean, he's fast pretty much everywhere we go. So I think if we just, you know, keep the car on the track and not get too many penalties, I think that's the key in Tier 4. And just try to put yourself in a good spot in the race, and you'll be in a good spot there later in the year, in the race, and in the year there in the standings. So that's the goal.
Yep, we'll just definitely have to wait and see how that pans out next week. Congratulations on your second ever podium this season. I actually said, coincidentally, you're in an all-American car, and you finished on the podium here at the US Grand Prix, but it also has a bit of a Russian flag going on, and you got a podium at the Russian Grand Prix, so how convenient.
It's
but
just
nonetheless,
fate.
congratulations.
It's just fate.
It really is, yes. But nonetheless, congratulations on your podium. And now we're going to move on to P2, that being Vault Guy. Zach, take it away.
So once again, well, yeah, I'm assuming that was a game mistake the first time when it put you on the softs, but nonetheless, you did the 2-stop and still got P2, which is absolutely a round of applause, really, if you ask me. Just give it your thoughts, really, on this Grand Prix, and a bit of a redemption day as well for you, especially what happened at Japan.
I'm sorry, I just got back from the bathroom checking my pants, but yeah, that strategy call really irked me. It was supposed to be going on mediums, and I saw him sitting there with softs. I was like, what the? And so, yeah, I just drove as hard as I could to try to spread the gap with Damer because he was having a great race tonight. And I wanted to try to get as far ahead of them as possible and see if I could get a pit stop between us, which I did, thankfully. And then kind of on cruise control, about 5 laps to go, started dealing with fuel issues, started saving fuel and watching the clock with them behind me and kind of easing it along. And no idea what happened. I've gone around that corner 100 times this week and have never had the rear end come out on me. And I was just crossing my fingers not to hit the wall hard enough to break something. And then somehow we held on for second place. So hats off to the team in Tier 4 for no safety cars. That was amazing. None of us planned no safety cars. That's why we all have fuel issues at the end. But great race.
Definitely was a great race indeed. My real question going on here, though, is since you are P3 in the standings and obviously Ferrari trying to get a good position in the Constructors, what is your goal really near the end of the season? Do you think you could try and challenge for the championship, or do you think you're just going to try and hold position for P3?
I'm going to try for second and hopefully somehow figure out a way to get James. Phantom's got a heck of a lead. He's just so consistent that it's going to be really hard to catch him. A couple bad races, maybe we have a shot, but all I can do is keep both hands on the wheel and keep my butt cheeks clenched together and hope we finish races up on the podium the rest of the way out. I need a victory.
Yeah,
it's been too long. Victories are it's been a long time since I've even talked to you guys, so I'm happy to be back here.
Your last victory was actually way back in Portimao, interestingly.
Yes, it was.
How was a full 15 races away?
Well, I made the mistake of letting Johan, Laura, and all them join, and that they've made it harder on me. No, it's been a great season so far. Some fun battles. The midfield is super interesting to watch. I'd love to see who comes out on top of that. And great race, Shredder. You had a wonderful race there, and I'm glad we crossed the line, let alone on the podium.
Yet, no, well done to you for your podium. Zach, do you have any questions?
No, I do not.
All right then. Well, congratulations once again, Ball Guy grabbing 18 points and another podium. But we're gonna move on to the winner of the U.S. Grand Prix, Slayer. Last week, it was drama on the second lap. Collision made you DNF, and well, that was really the end of it. But this week, you have made amends for what happened. Starting on the alternate strategy, you did not hold back, neither did you look back. The second you took the lead, it was all over, and you pulled a massive gap, and you grabbed a win at your home Grand Prix. And well, how do you feel about it?
Sorry, my mic was muted, but it feels amazing. Yeah, I was. So in qualifying, I didn't really do too well. I went out a few seconds too early, so slicks, but I managed to make the race work. Thankfully, that helped me out like a lot. So yeah, and I want to give a huge shout out to my teammate. After he retired, he became my engineer, best engineer ever. So yeah.
Yeah, it definitely helped you in your race. Oh, you had a special helmet?
Yeah, special helmet and number in honor of Black History Month. So that just...
Oh. I did not realize that. Wow. Brought that into my eyes, and well, you definitely made it count by grabbing the win here, the U.S. Grand Prix. And well, obviously with your teammate unfortunately retiring from this race, you still managed to make amends for it and grab the win. My question, what do you think Alpine's chances are in the next coming races? Do you hope to improve on your position? Do you think you could possibly get into that midfield fight? And well, what are you really expecting?
Yeah, to the top of the midfield fight, I'm really going to be pushing hard these last couple of races. So I'm just hoping we can get good results. I believe in my teammate, and we can probably do pretty well in the constructors too. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Zach, any questions for Slayer?
No, I do not once again. Congratulations on your win.
All right, with that then, that is going to wrap up Tier 4 and racing at Breakout Racing League for here tonight. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, though, for Tier 2 and Tier 1 at 8 p.m. EST and 10 p.m. EST. Then, on Sunday, we've got Tier 2 ACC. Things have switched up a little bit, so it's Tier 2 first, and then Tier 1 right after. And then we come back next week for the Mexican Grand Prix, Formula 2 at 9 p.m. Then, realistic on Thursday, and then we come back to Tier 3 and Tier 4, and who knows what's in store for us there. But from Zach and I, that is going to be everything. Good day, and good